Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. We have a fantastic and spicy video today. We have two who comment at us with a fantastic video as recommended. Um, the Delusional Gotcha Takes, episode 2. We are going to jump right in and see what he has to say about what delusional gotcha takes he has.
Of Delusional Gotcha Takes. I'm your host, the god of gotcha himself, Tuhu, and
Who the fuck calls yourself the god of gotcha? I haven't watched one of his videos in a very long time, so that's like a mental flashbang to come at you with the I am the god of gotchas, unironically.
today I'm going to talk about everyone's favorite Honkai Star Rail drama as of late, the dreaded account passive drama. And why, if you're quitting the game because of it, you're retarded.
I'm sorry, I don't want passives being tied to characters I don't want to use to make my account better. I did quit Honkai Star Rail. It was one of my favorite games, but I'm not gonna stand for the disrespect of tying passives to characters, global passives to characters that affect your account whether you use that character or not. It's just too much and too greedy. We're not even 20 seconds in and he's already thrown me for a loop. That is crazy. I can see where you get delusional gotcha takes in your title from.
If you're new to the channel, my name is ToeSniper98, but again, you can just call me Tuhu, and I am the god of gotcha games. I've been playing gotcha
Oh god, okay.
for the last 8 years, and right now I'm maining 13 of them at once.
13? Good God, boy, get a life. I understand it's your job. But 13? That's out of the stratosphere kind of wild bullshit. Jesus.
So I think it's safe to say that I know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to gotcha, more so than a lot of these other dog YouTubers and streamers who do nothing but clickbait, rage bait, and drama farm and think they can call themselves gotcha content creators.
Isn't he kind of rage baiting and drama baiting now by saying he started off the video by saying you're fucking retarded if you're quitting a game over something you dislike. But he's not rage baiting and drama baiting with that comment? Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I am what he says I am. But wild comments.
Creators. And this video is going to be a part of a new semi-regular series that I got going on my channel here, where I discuss gotcha drama that either I come across or viewers let me know about, and I feel the need to call it out. And as I said in the beginning, the drama I want to talk about today is the global account passive debacle in Honkai Star Rail. Ideally, I should have made this video back when the drama was really going down, but hey, Casterus is about to come out, so you know for a fact that people are going to bring it back up, so here we go again. For those of you who don't play Star Rail or you're out of the loop, starting a few months ago, thanks to leaks, we learned about the possibility of MiHoYo adding a global account passive mechanic to the game, starting with Casterus.
Which is the absolute worst decision they could have been making. They lost so much fan base off of that. So many creators stopped supporting them. Everything was just going downhill, and they did that right after all the drama with the severe power creep, the lack of actually trying to make things worth watching. There's barely any animations in the story. There's no cutscenes. If you don't get just a still picture, you get a black screen with white text. Just adding that on top, people were just tired of. So it wasn't necessarily just that. I mean, it definitely was a big component of it, but it was mainly just everything combined that really shut down people liking Star Rail.
A character who will be added to the game with the 3.2 patch. This passive that Casterus has can revive a downed character once, even if Casterus herself is not part of the team, on the condition that another teammate can either shield them or heal them within a turn. Otherwise,
Right.
the revived character goes back to being knocked out and stays KO'd for good, hence why players are calling it a global account passive. When this mechanic
It's not why characters. It is a global account passive. It's not us just labeling it a passive or a global passive. It it just is one. If you can just pull this character and have it active whenever you want in any game mode you want, that is the definition of a global passive. You don't need to use the character, you just need to have her. And it's not necessarily this passive in particular. This is just a gateway for everything to go even further downhill. It's going to be a snowballing effect. Yes, this passive isn't that deep. It isn't that grand of a path. But once they implement this in and everybody gets used to it, they're going to start implementing things like, oh, you get this character, you get a 5 to 10% attack boost. Or you get 30 speed on all your characters if you get this one or this or that and that. It's just a snowball effect, and it's not that Castrus passive is bad or it's very egregious. It's the fact that it can just open the door to make everything worse in the future. That's all it really is.
was officially demonstrated in the 3.2 preview stream, the Western Star Rail player base rioted hard. Like,
And that's also another thing is it's not just one character. It can happen to multiple characters as long as it's done at the same time. So that's like a full wipe that was prevented.
it
It's
wasn't Genshin first anniversary levels of rioting per se, but this is certainly the single biggest drama I've seen out of the Western Star Rail community to this day. To my understanding, people are upset with this global account passive mechanic because of two main reasons. The first one, the not as bad reason, is the passive itself. Some people out there think that this revive is actually really strong, broken even, and it'll be crucial in dealing with enemies that'll show up in the 3.2 update.
it is just BS. It's just bullshit all around. Uh because with how the power scaling is, with how everything's getting harder, it's almost forcing you to get this character just so you could try and keep up with the massive amounts of damage or the endurance fight that you have to do with these bosses that have billions of HP. It just feels like they're just pushing too much on us.
So it makes casters a must pull character. The second and bigger reason is that more than the passive itself, players are more worried about the fact that this will set a precedent for MiHoYo to start shoving even more global account passives into the game like this.
It's already been confirmed, maybe by not by MiHoYo themselves, but it's already been confirmed and dug up that there's at least 4 other characters with global passives in the work right now. So yes, it is a gateway, and yes, they implemented her so they could throw in more in the future. 100%. There's no way in hell that they would throw this one global passive in there and be like, "Oh, we're done. It was just for her because we like her so much." 100% their end game goal of throwing more characters that you need to pull to make your account stronger, even if you don't want them or use them.
This one, and that those ones will turn future characters who have them into must-pull characters as well. Otherwise, the game will become unplayable or something like that. And so because of these reasons, both players and content creators alike out here in the West have either been threatening to or have claimed to already quit Star Rail, with some of them even going so far as to say that it's the ethical thing to do in this situation, and other
I don't know about ethical thing to do, but I cannot support a company that just treats their player base like that. That has no respect for them whatsoever to be doing this. It was already bad enough with everything else I mentioned beforehand, but this was just the cherry on top of I cannot do this anymore. Once it was officially announced in their live stream, I deleted Honkai Star Rail that day. I even thought about maybe coming back to make a video about pulling for Cathris and talking about a little bit about that, but I just couldn't bring myself to it. I didn't want to farm that. and because everybody else was too. But I wanted nothing to do with it. It's just blatant disrespect for their player base, and they're just throwing slop at us, hoping we'll just eat it. I'm not about that.
Lies they like shoving up their own asses. As you might be able to tell from my tone already, I think these reasons to freak out about Casterus' global account passive thing are trash, and anyone who's either claiming to quit or has already dropped the game because of it don't deserve to play any other gacha game whatsoever, because
That is a crazy take. Oh, I don't like this thing in a gacha game, so I'm dropping it. Well, you don't even deserve to play that genre. How dare you? What kind of delusional ass take is this? This man's literally off his meds. I'm not allowed to play the entire genre of gacha games just because I don't like one thing. Does that go for other games as well? Oh, I didn't like the new COD, so I can't play Overwatch, I can't play Marvel Rivals, I can't play anything that has a gun in it whatsoever. That is crazy. That is crazy thought process.
they fundamentally do not
But
understand how
I guess I need to take it to heart because he is the god of gacha after all.
Star Rail works. And if they can't handle a gacha like Star Rail, frankly, I don't know if they can handle much else.
Handle
Then
a
again,
gacha
not
like
exactly
Star Rail.
surprising considering this is the Hoyoverse community we're talking about. So allow me to explain why I think this whole drama is not as bad as your favorite dog content creators are trying to gaslight you into thinking it is. And let me start by saying that I do not think Casterus' global account passive is broken at all. The way
I slightly agree on that. I don't think it's severely broken. Like I said, it is about the principle of the matter. They're going to add things that are broken in the future. Whether you believe it or not, it will happen. Now, reviving a character, okay, whatever. We already had Bailu that revives a character. But the difference is she can only do it to one character, and you have to have her on the team physically there. And the rest of her kit isn't even that good. She was only a good up until we got our first like premium healer, and then she was thrown to the side like some trash. There's a huge difference between having a crappy healer that can do it once only on one team and just pulling the character and being able to do it to 2 to 3 people at a time and doing it in every game mode without them being there. There's a huge difference in both of those scenarios. But I hope the god of gacha understands that little bit of information.
see it, it's basically a more useful Bailu revive because it's global,
Of course, he's talking about Bailu.
and you don't actually need to have casters on your team to have it activate. But Bailu is the point of reference here. And, like, how often is she used in endgame content by tryhard players?
Exactly, because she's bad, and her only redeeming feature is that revive. You can't just take that important feature, that very important feature of Bailu, just take it, strip it away from her, and give it to everyone on your account, and just say it's all hunky dory. You can't just do that. That is ridiculous on every level that you think about.
These days. Plus, if you are an actual hardcore player in Star Rail and you play and
Let's be real, no one's a hardcore player in Star Rail. It is a very hold your hands type of game. You throw money at it, you win. There's no hardcore about it.
grind for endgame to be able to full clear stuff like MOC, Pure Fiction, and Apoc Shadow, here's the thing. You aren't relying on things like revives in the first place. Because you have no reserve characters in a game like Star Rail and you can't replace anybody who dies, you have to make sure that your team is strong enough to the point where you don't need to worry about anybody dying in the first place. Or at least you
Yes, but also no, because there are things you just can't account for. that revive, yes, you may not need it 100% of the time. Of course not. If you needed it, you really need to figure some things out about your relics and shit. Uh, but it's just having that safety net of being able to not have to worry about it. Oh, I can put more damage because I have this free revive. Oh, I can do this, but because I have this free revive. It just ruins a lot of the strategic value of do I need to heal? Do I need to get this? Do I need to do that? It's like, oh, I don't have to worry about that character right now. They can die, got a free revive. Or it's just such a ridiculous thought process.
Know that your teams like have a good chance of making it all the way to the end without losing anyone. Obviously, you can get some bad RNG here and there. For example, the enemies all target down one of your characters, but you can just try again and either change up your strategy or your team itself, or pray that you get different RNG at the very.
And if you're talking about it like it's unnecessary, it is unnecessary. If you can just retry, why would having a almost full team revive even be necessary in the game? It's not.
Least, but ideally your team should already be strong enough to the point where you can clear endgame content without losing anyone to begin with. So by that point, what use is Caster's passive then, besides to cover some bad RNG? The main
I feel like instead of backing up his own point, he's just further reinforcing the fact that it is not needed into the game because there's so many different avenues of going around dying. Like, you can have a stronger team, you could just do more, you could do more damage, you could be a little bit more defensive, you could go either way on that. Or if you get, like he says, you get bad RNG, just restart it. What is the point of having the revive? It is unnecessary, and it does not need to be in the game whatsoever. They did it just to test the waters.
Function of Casterus's global revive in the context of endgame, in my opinion, is that it's an insurance policy. In other words, it will be most useful for players who are like close to full clearing in endgame mode, or close to reaching like the next threshold of rewards at least. Their teams are almost strong enough to be able to get the job done, but they keep losing a character, and that's stopping them from like being able to properly 3-star a floor in MOC or something. For players like these, Casterus's passive will benefit them the most because it'll give them that extra little push that they need to reach their next reward threshold. And I'm not bothered by this because they were almost there already. Right, with a bit more grinding for materials and better relics maybe, they would have hit it on their own without Casterus's revive anyway. So I find Casterus's global revive thing to be really underwhelming, man. It's a band-aid solution that you shouldn't even have to use as long as your account is strong enough. So for anyone out there who truly believes that it's broken or like overpowered or something like that, you must have totally ignored the dude we're getting after Casterus, whose ult, what does it do again? It straight up puts all 7 elemental weaknesses on all enemies. Forget Silverwolf getting power crept, what the actual f is that? Now for the arguably more important half of the argument, the fact that Casterus,
I will say he is a bit ridiculous. They just made Silverwolf and just threw everything that they could possibly do with debuffs. I will say that character is a bit ridiculous.
now sets a potentially dangerous precedent for MiHoYo to start adding more global passives that might actually be more broken. I want to preface this by saying that I do think this is a legitimate reason to be concerned. MiHoYo could easily throw.
Thank you for finally being down to earth and understanding. That is the main reason people are upset.
Us a new character who has like a global account passive that just straight up gives your entire account something like, I don't know, like plus 10% crit rate and plus 50% crit damage or something hilariously stupid like that.
Oh
and since
God,
by now I'm
disastrous.
sure that there's quite a few of you watching this right now thinking that I must be some kind of Hoyo shill. First of all, don't get me confused with Saint Tontus with the way that he.
First of all, do not get me confused. I am not a shill. Do not.
Sucks Kuro's dick daily. And second of all, I'm not exactly thrilled to see something like a global account passive myself either. The concept that a character in a gacha game can influence a fight that they're not even a part of is actually insane. Like, I play 13 different gacha games, 16 if you include the ones that I dropped, and only one of them comes close to having like a global ability. Azure Lane of all gachas. Some ultra rares in that game have abilities that let them assist fleets that they're not even a part of, but at least in that case, they need to be a part of the actual overall battle itself. And characters having this much power and influence can obviously be insanely overtuned, or at least they have the potential to be. But here's the thing, as much as I too wouldn't want us to get insanely busted global account passives, I still wouldn't think that's enough of a reason to quit the game entirely. As crazy as that might sound to some.
I think that is a crazy thought process. Like, you don't have your own rights to quit a game if you want to. You have every right to quit a game at any given point. You don't have to sit here and play every game for forever. I feel like this man's just got extreme FOMO having playing this many games as long as he has. Uh you have every right. If they release a character that you slightly dislike, you can quit that game. Whether it makes sense or not, it's up to you. It doesn't matter. You can quit that game. Saying, "Oh, you don't like this one thing, so you don't deserve to play the Gacha series," is ridiculous. Saying, "Oh, you aren't a real Gacha player," or bad mouthing you entirely because you don't like something, so you quit that game. People are allowed to quit the game. They don't have to dedicate their time to something if they don't want to. That is such a ridiculous thought process to have.
Some of you, actually a lot of you, given how much this drama's blown up in the past few weeks. And the reason why is that Star Rail has always been the kind of gacha whose endgame is heavily dependent on whether you have the latest characters or not. Personally, I realized this back when we got a destruction crew of year 1, characters like Blade, Jingliu, and Daniel Alter, and they became our new top tier DPSs back then and made our early game DPSs like Selly more or less obsolete, and has basically stayed that way ever since. Matter of fact, gacha
That is true. That is factual.
games in general
Can't
oftentimes do this, where their metas evolve with the release of new characters and or mechanics. Oh, you're an FGO player? I hope you have an Oberon to farm those 90++ nodes, or at the very least have support Oberons on deck with the event CEs you want. You're a Blue Archive player? Alright, then you better have a UE40 Kisaki for damn near every single raid from now on if you want to hit top 5 or 10k. What's that? You play Nikke? Well, what do you mean you don't have overspec Rappi, Cindy, Crown, Asuka 2, or any of the other top tiers for solo and union raids? Star Rail is an extremely casual game outside of its endgame stuff. If you're not tryharding, global account passives are nothing more than cute little lore tidbits that help tie the character's abilities to the game itself. They only will start to matter when endgame is in play. But here's the thing, the endgame modes, like MOC, Pure Fiction, and Apoc Shadow, are optional. This is something I mentioned in a video that I made last year about power creep. The main content of a gacha game are its story missions, or main quests if you prefer calling it that, and its limited time events. I do not include endgame as part of a gacha's main content unless the gacha in question is the type to make its story part of its endgame, like a lot of the older gachas used to do, or
I'm gonna stop him here. Endgame is definitely part of the main content because gacha games are not meant to be played 24/7. Now, there are some where you can grind different things all day, every day. Like Wuthering Waves, you could go grind echoes, you could farm every echo on the map, farm materials and everything for as long as you want. Not every game is like that. In game, I would say is a good, it's a good percentage. I would like to say 50% of the game. Because yes, you're going to spend a good portion of the initial time playing. You're going to spend a good portion of it doing quests, doing the story, leveling up and everything. But once you get to like that end point for that time being, that drops down tremendously. And then what do you have left? You have events that happen, on a weekly basis most of the time. You have different events going on. You do your dailies. So you grind for gear. That's what you got going on for the most of the time. Besides that, you have in-game stuff. Let's use Wuthering Waves for example again. In-game stuff. Maybe not 50%. I would say a good 40-60, right? So 40% in-game. So you have the Tower of Diversity, and now you have Whimpering Waves. That, I understand it's just 2 modes. But that is a majority of what you do once you hit in-game. You're going to farm, and then you're going to do your in-game whenever it pops up. That's all you do. So I would say, yes, it is a part of your content, because doing that will secure your source of income for premium gems to get new characters. So if you don't do it, you're gimping yourself. It is 100% a form of content. Whether you want to admit it or not, it is the content that we want to do. It's optional, but it's still content. Just like any events that happening. Just like any part of the story that happens. You don't have to do character quests. Ugh.
Still do to this day, like FGO or Girls Frontline 1. Not 2, by the way. GFL 2 is piss easy. Most modern gachas these days do not do this, because making story content actually difficult is not casual friendly at all. And daily reminder for you MiHoYo tryhards out there who do nothing but watch Gacha Smack, Ziox, Zajef, and other streamers and spend hours rambling about meta on Discord. Gacha games are primarily played by...
You're going to tell me this isn't one of those people that ramble about meta? You're going to tell me that you don't ramble about meta in any of your 20 million gacha games that you play? Cap.
Casuals. Because gacha games, as a genre, are casual as fuck. Star Rail is no exception, so its endgame is purely optional too. Yes, it gives a lot of stellar jades, sure, but giving gems is not a condition to make it part of its essential content.
It is, like I said, if you don't do the in-game to get the gems, you therefore don't get enough gems to even attempt to get the next character. So if you don't do the in-game, how are you going to get any gems whatsoever? Because that's our really only repeatable source of income for most gacha games is the in-game. If you don't do that, then what are you doing? You can't get any characters unless you throw money at the game. So unless you're Giant Whale, it is damn near mandatory to do in-game stuff to even attempt to get characters in the future.
Because again, your progress in a gacha is not somehow gated just because you don't do endgame stuff. Endgame is a measurement of your progress, not progress in and of itself. At least not for gacha games. Besides, Star Rail is an extremely simple game. It's so simple that the game is very close to just playing itself. I mean, there are players out there who try to make it a point to try to full auto MOC 12 or something like that, and people out there complain about My Day being an autoplay character when the whole game is almost like that already. It's one thing if other gacha games started adding their own global account passives, or their own versions of it anyway, because then they'd be a much bigger deal in those games. But here in Star Rail, the gameplay is so watered down that global account passes are nothing more than glorified talents, man. I think of them as just second talents that some characters have.
We don't have enough information to try and downplay it as much as he is. 100%. We just don't have that kind of information because we haven't seen what they plan on doing in the future. We don't have any confirmation of what exactly they plan to do in the future. We just know that they plan to release more passives in the future. So downplaying it to this degree is so disingenuous. And he's just trying to gaslight everybody into thinking that these passives are fine. They're not. They're not in any regard.
Happen to have the privilege of having. And even if global account passives in the future actually turn out to be broken as hell, Star Rail's overall gameplay won't change. The fact that the game pushes you to roll for new characters in order to keep up with the meta, or with the endgame at least, doesn't change. what exactly is changing here? That people suddenly feel the need to quit the game now when the game has quite literally always been this way. Global account passives are just a new coat of bullshit over the same old usual slop.
That's the problem. It's a new code of bullshit. We've been okay, and we have been getting upset with the old codes of bullshit. The problem is they keep slopping on new codes of bullshit, and we don't want to deal with it. So it's just a final nail in the coffin, right? It's not this one thing specifically, but it's all these things piled up on top of each other. It's just the last thing we wanted to deal with. That's all it is.
You survived everything else up until this point, and this is the deal breaker for you? So all these people whining about how you won't be able to play Star Rail anymore, guys, if you can't roll this certain character, Casterus in this case, are brain dead beyond belief. And anyone who's quitting the game over this whole drama is either a drone or spent a little too much time inside a locked garage with a car running in it. Special shoutouts to all those special need content creators out there who claim that they're gonna quit Star Rail because of this. And I even heard that
It's official, guys. I'm special need. You heard it here first.
some of them went so far as to say that it's the ethical thing to do, or some like that. I mean, hey, if you are as truly as ethical as you say, you shouldn't just quit Star Rail, you should quit being a gacha content creator straight up. Get the off YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Discord, wherever the because most gacha games are far from ethical. And chances are, the only gachas you've ever played are Hoyo plus Wuwa. So you don't even know what an ethical gacha even looks like. I mean, at least Techie gave Limbus Company a try. Too bad he got that ass filtered hard as ethically quitting gacha games. Holy shit, man.
I'm not an expert, but doesn't Tectone still play Limbus Company? And he plays Wizardry, which Wizardry is is a pretty hard game in itself. So saying he got filtered out, it's kind of a wild statement. He still actively expresses that he plays those games.
Man, I mean, there's a reason why I call this series Delusional Gacha Takes. To play a bit of devil's advocate here, I do want to bring up the fact that this global account passive drama stuff came after several months of concern out of the Western player base about power creep, about how Star Rail towards the end of its 2.x client version was having more and more of a power creep problem. So I can see why this drama is blown up so much, because to these players, Casterus' global revive is vindication of their concerns and proof that MiHoYo isn't listening to them at all and is just doing whatever they want.
To be fair, they're not. They couldn't give less of a shit about their player base.
I mean, first things first, I think it's incredibly naive that Western gacha players think that Eastern gacha developers will listen to anything they have to say. But hey, to their credit,
We have actually seen Eastern developers listen to the Western audience. We have seen that actually happen. So saying that it won't happen or that it is crazy or anything is wild thoughts.
maybe
Wild
they
behavior.
and whine enough about something, they just might. But if that's what it comes down to, then that makes Star Rail players no different from Genshin players. And considering that a lot of people dropped Genshin back in the day to play Star Rail 2 years
Remember, he's not hate baiting. Remember that, guys.
ago or so, that's truly ironic, isn't it? It's almost like trash players will always be trash. I'll leave y'all with this. Like I said earlier, while I'm not exactly happy that, global account passes are a thing now, if they're gonna stay, then I'll just have to learn to work with them or even without them, perhaps. I think that at the very least, MiHoYo should have waited another year or so before introducing it as a new mechanic of sorts, but clearly they had their own plans. If you are genuinely upset about global account passives and you want to quit Star Rail because of them, then hey, who am I to stop you, right? It's a free country where I live. I mean, just look at the idiot we elected as a president for a second time, by the way. But at the very least, if you're gonna quit the game, just quit it and get it over with. Like, don't make angry twit-longers about why you're quitting, or make entire videos making a big deal, like an announcement or some shit, about why you're quitting, how it's the ethical thing to do. Oh, I'm not at fault here. It's not my fault. It's the game's fault. Because that's, dare I say, f***ing cringe. And that's
guys, quitting a game is cringe. Not liking everything they do is cringe. Guys, let's be real here. Not dedicating your entire life and all your free time to 87 games is cringe. Let's be real here, guys. You need to step up your game. All right. Little too cringe up in here.
coming from a guy who unironically plays 13 gacha games at once and has a whole bunch of anime body pillows hanging on the wall behind him. And if nothing else, I hope that the average intelligence quotient for the Star Rail player base goes up even just a little bit when Casters comes out. Though I don't exactly have high hopes for that, considering that I expect all the content creators who quit the game because of this will come crawling back eventually. Cause like, what else are they gonna play? Genshin? Like,
what else are we gonna play? Let's see here. We have. There we go. We get Arknight's Enfield, Neverness to Everness, Azure Permilia, Ethereal Restart, Project Mugen and Nanata, and Remomento. That's what we got. That's what we got going on. we got plenty of games to rely on in the future. We don't need Star Rail at all.
Star Rail players left Genshin 2 years ago. Why would they go back? Zenless or Wuwa? Those games actually take skill. Why would they play those either? Gonna be an interesting next few weeks, that's for sure. And that'll do it for the second episode of Delusional Gacha Take.
And let's be real, Zenless don't really require that much skill. It's pretty easy.
Once again, I'm Tuhu, your host with the most, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me put these delusional gacha dumbasses in their places. If you guys have any other gacha drama going on that you want me to cover,
damn, he put us in our place. Yeah. That is some crazy behavior. Honestly crazy behavior. I love this video, guys. I don't know about you guys. I love this video. I think he has like 1 out of 100 valid points. This was more of a comedy to me more than anything else. Let me know what you guys think down below. I think, you know, everybody's valid to quit a game if they want. Obviously, the God of Gacha doesn't think so. But let me know what you guys think. If you decide to play a game, should it be a lifelong commitment, like you're married to that game? Or are you able to break things off whenever you feel like it? Who knows, right? The law states you have to play whatever gacha games you play for the end of time. But thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Peace.